Hi again, fellow unlicensed thinkers. So yesterday I was having a conversation about this topic, and I thought, well, hey, if it's worth having a conversation about, it's worth doing a video about. And that is how to feel as if when you're manifesting something. So how to ignore the reality of the present and to feel as if the thing, the event, the situation, the circumstances, whatever, that they already exist for you. And I think that might be the wrong question. The how to ignore reality, I don't think is quite the right question, but we can come to the same point anyways by asking this other question, which is, what is reality anyway? Because we don't really see reality as it is. So the question then is not how do we ignore reality, but what is the reality that we think we need to ignore? I think that's the best way to word it. So since we don't really see reality, if you're not familiar with Don Hoffman, I will put his name down in the comments. He has just this brilliant work that he does, and I am going to briefly sum it up here because he literally has 3-hour interviews where he talks about it, and absolutely worth watching 100%. I've watched a few of them. They're so mind-blowing and mind-expanding, but the essence of what he talks about for the purposes of this conversation anyways is that we are not evolved or created to see reality as it is. That would be very inefficient for us to do that. So we see just enough of reality to get by, so to speak. Because evolutionary speaking, it doesn't make sense for us to see all of the sorry about the cat tail. It doesn't make sense for us to see all of the light spectrum. There's only a little bit of the light spectrum that makes sense for us to see in order for us to survive. And so to save energy, that's all we need to see, so that's all we see. And if you expand that out to all of reality, then we are only seeing that much of reality that we need to see. And it doesn't just come to sight, it comes to experience too. So we are only experiencing the amount of reality that we need to experience. And I'll use the example of when you move your mouse on your computer. You see the little thing go across the screen and all that. And you could technically do that, I suppose, by adjusting all of the volts within the motherboard and having, telling the motherboard exactly what you need, as far as I need it to move this far over this way and this far in this direction and so on. But that's incredibly inefficient. And so we have sort of the same process going as far as we relate to reality. We don't need to see what's happening in the back end of reality. We only need to see what's happening on the screen of reality. So that thin sheet of reality that is our experience. But there's a whole lot more to it. So anyways, point is, we don't see reality according to what Don Hoffman says. And again, listen to his stuff. The man is absolutely brilliant. So what is reality? Well, what is the reality that we experience? Even that isn't what we really think it is. So we see things, right? But we only have a little tiny piece of our vision that actually sees things in any kind of real high definition. Everything else that we see is really blurry. And the reason we can see it clearly is because our brain makes it up for us. It says, well, this was here before, or I predict that this will be here. Like if you see a ball moving, then your brain doesn't necessarily have to see the ball. It says, well, the ball was going this speed in this direction, and so I'm going to assume that it continues to do that. So we're not really seeing the ball move. And same thing goes with all kinds of stuff. I was just talking about the predictive software. So we predict all kinds of things, like our ability to predict the end of somebody's sentence. I know what they're going to say because as opposed to my brain spending the energy to try to process everything in real time, my brain can get ahead of that and save a little bit of power by already knowing what that person is going to say, already having an idea of what comes next. Kind of like when you do predictive text on your phone and it knows Well, you said the word you, so after that you must want the word are, and then after that you must want the word silly or whatever. So we have this prediction that's running all the time, so we're not really experiencing reality. And when somebody tells a joke, we are upset because we didn't expect that. That's what makes a joke funny, is that there's this rhythm that's going. We're predicting the end of it. We kind of have an idea of what's coming, and then all of a sudden they throw something wild at us, and our brains kind of misfire a little bit, and that's where the humor comes in. But we're not really experiencing what they say as they say it. So it's that's why it blows our mind like that. And then you get into how we interpret everything, based on our emotions, based on what hormones we have going through us, based on what kind of day we're having, based on, again, what our expectations might be. We have all of these interpretations that we do that mean that we're not really experiencing reality either in that sense. And then psychologically, we have things like our shadow, which is the things that we don't like about ourselves that we project onto other people. So we're not experiencing those other people. What we're experiencing is our expectation, interpretation, and projection of that person. And so you add all of this stuff together, and we are really not seeing reality at all. So going back to what the original question is, it's how to feel as if you already have the thing that you're trying to manifest and ignore the reality that says that you don't. Well, you're not really experiencing that reality. Excuse me, your body doesn't know the difference. Your body's going to have stress hormones whether you are experiencing a car crash or whether you are sitting down and imagining a car crash. Your body is going to get sick based on if you think you're sick. It can there's called the placebo and the nocebo effect. So you can make yourself better or you can cause yourself illness based on what your expectations of your health are, what you think you're going to feel. You can actually cause that to come into existence in the real world, in your physical body. So somewhere there's that connection between what we think, what we believe, what we imagine, and that real world. And so there's no reason that wouldn't extend out to other things. If I have an expectation of being poor and I predict the next thing that's going to happen to me is that I'm going to be poor, then I'm going to be poor because I'm going to do things that are going to cause me to be poor. I'm going to put that energy out there, so to speak. So it could be energetic. It could be something that I do psychologically. There's all these different reasons that I can manifest exactly what it is that I have in my mind. And so I can think poor or I can think rich. I can think I always have enough money. I'm always doing quite well for myself. I never have any worries. I'm so happy I get to pay all my bills on time. It's so wonderful that money just keeps coming to me. And so you can think that way, and that will eventually override the thoughts that you're having that say anything to the opposite, which may be what you want to call the reality. But again, we don't even know what the reality is, so even calling it your reality and trying to say, well, I'm ignoring this reality is sort of weird. You are creating it all the time. And so you don't need to ignore the reality. You just need to be in that place that you want to be. And so this sounds funny, and it's been said by, I think Abraham said it, and I think other people like Joe Dispenza, Gregg Braden, they also talk about this a lot. Wayne Dyer, he's another great one. They talk about spend time daydreaming and imagining the reality that you want to be so. Because what you're doing is you're programming your subconscious to think that way. So the subconscious thinks, well, in this reality, I am rich. In this reality, I have this perfect relationship. In this reality, I am super healthy, whatever it might be. So your subconscious will get programmed for that because you're thinking about it, you're visualizing it, you're imagining it, you're daydreaming it all the time. You know, if you stop at a stoplight, you spend 10 seconds and you think about the wonderful life that you have, and you just think about how it feels. You show that gratitude. You say, man, it's so wonderful that I'm making $100,000 a month or whatever it might be. And you just say, this is amazing. And so then your subconscious, it's having an effect on your body. And that's all having an effect on your outside world. Because again, there's somewhere that spark happens where it goes from consciousness to reality to the physical world, I should say. And so there's no reason that has to stop at the body. So what you're doing is you're putting that energy out into the world of, this is what I am experiencing. And if that's what you're experiencing, then all of the things to make that so must also be true. So that's happening to your body, that's happening to your subconscious, and eventually that even happens to your egoic mind. And so you actually put yourself into that place, and all of these things line up in order for that to become, again, a reality in the physical world. So you don't have to ignore reality, you just need to experience the reality that you want to be so, and that reality will become so. Because again, I'm going to go back to the beginning, you don't need to ignore reality when you're manifesting. You just feel as if, and everything else will fall into line. Your subconscious will make it happen. The energy around you will make it happen. It will happen. You just feel as if you don't need to ignore reality because you're not even experiencing reality. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love hearing from you. Be sure to hit like and share the video.